Do you remember a couple of days ago when I was down at the bottom of these stairs and this was all rocks? There was no water, the tide has come in. There were even some people who climbed down here and then climbed across the rocks and stood over there. A couple of boys. Amazing. Anyway, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. Every day is your birthday if you choose to celebrate life every day. But today we're going to be talking about the tortoise and the hare, and we will say happy birthday to the people at the end of this video, because we're doing a slightly new version of this process from now on. Got quite a few things to talk about today though. Did I say the tortoise and the hare? Tortoise and the hare. I wrote it down as the fox and the hare earlier on for some bizarre reason. I don't know why. It is what it is, I suppose. Yeah, and I've got this annoying situation now where the notes, there we go, the notes are not showing properly. And I figured out how to get my my phone to stick to this branch, this pole rather I should say, the right way around now. Do it, there we go. There we are. Happy birthday everybody, how you doing? Haven't quite got the view behind me, but mostly because the sun would be too much, I think. Yeah, to ruin the picture so far there. Okay, so today we're talking about the fox and the hare, sort of. The fox and the hare is obviously one of Aesop's fables. Oh, hello viewer, by the way, very good. Interestingly, I had to look it up slightly. By the way, let me know if you can hear me all right over the sound of the waves in the background. If not, I can move. So that'd be great. Some thumbs up or a heart if you can hear me perfectly. That would be lovely. Yes, can you hear me? Give me a heart. If you can't, then you can't reply, can you? So yeah, the fox and the hare, Aesop's fables, and I looked it up, and it turns out that Aesop's fables were told like through word of mouth for many years, and it was years after his death when they were finally written down to be passed on. So of course this is the sort of classic Chinese whispers scenario, isn't it, where you tell a story and then somebody else tells a story and then somebody else tells a story, and it morphs over time. And it turns out there are several versions of the fox and the hare story. So I said it's fox and the hare again, haven't I? The hare and the tortoise, of course, is what I really mean. Like I said, I've written it down wrong. I don't know why. I think it's because I was looking at the other Aesop's fables this morning as well and seeing that there's hundreds of them. It's really bizarre. I have to look them all up at some point. And I think one of them was with a fox or something. I'm not sure anyway. But the hare and the tortoise, of course, is what we're really talking about here. Yeah, I can't tell if anybody can hear me because the viewer has gone away. The viewer has gone away. And whether or not I've actually even got a signal as well. Yeah, I've got a signal. Got a signal, all right. So yeah, so the classic tale, of course, is that the fox sort of bravado says, "Oh, I can beat you in a race." To the tortoise, sorry, the hare says, "It's going to be annoying if I've got this written up here the whole time, haven't I? It's good to change that." Tortoise. Yeah, there we go. So the tortoise, the hare says to the tortoise, "I can beat you in a race easily enough." And then they set up the race, and of course the hare goes off, runs away, and the tortoise is plod, and then the hare goes, "Oh, I've got this one easily, I can have a snooze before the end of the race." And of course he falls asleep, and then the tortoise overtakes him and then wins the race. So the moral of that story is supposed to be slow and ploddy wins the race, and just going off like a crazy person doesn't always win. And I got this story out of the 10x rule from Grant Cardone, and he was saying, well, why don't you just go off like the hare but don't stop for the sleep, basically. And that's basically it, isn't it? So don't stop to sleep, to sort of gloat. And I've seen a couple of the versions of the story where it's like, yeah, but the real problem was that the hare was overly confident and bravado and full of, it was big-headed, and he thought, oh, I can take a sleep without winning the race, just to prove how clever I am and all that kind of stuff, rather than just winning the race and then saying, look how clever I am, or even having a bit of humility and saying, hey, I could win this race, but you know, we all know that I can win this race, so let me just show you how I can win this race. But then it would be a case of, well, maybe the tortoise can win a race over a huge distance, whereas the hare wouldn't be able to last that long. It's like a 100-meter runner against a marathon runner. The marathon runner's going to win every time over a marathon distance. But the marathon winner is never going to win over 100 meters. Two different people, two different feelings. So this is where this story becomes really interesting, because this then becomes coming to talk to us about our personalities and who we are as people, and whether or not we believe that we are a tortoise or whether we believe we are a hare, and whether or not how we've been programmed as children has affected that. Because do we want to be the hare who's all bravado and cocky and thinks he's the best and everything, and you know, makes other people feel bad and so forth, or do we want to be the slow, cautious tortoise who is kind and careful and all that kind of stuff? Well, probably a little bit of both, to be honest, isn't it? So that we can be a more well-rounded personality. But how did we become the tortoise, or how did we become the hare? How did the bravado salesman type people get like that? I was having a chat to my friend Anna the other day, and we were talking about men who lie to get to have sex, basically, and of course, I think it's just you've got this in you that this is how you're going to act, and this is the result you're going to get as a result of that. And so there are certain types of personality who are quite happy to do that type of thing and not worry about the consequences of their actions. They're very selfish, very self-centered, not interested in whether or not they've hurt the other person's feelings or not. They're just quite happy to go out and doing their own things. They're not thinking about other people at all. And where does that come from? I don't know, to be perfectly honest. However, what I do know is that our personalities and our belief systems are all formed up until about the age of 7, or at least the automated versions of this. And this is the key part of this. Is so children get programmed. They get programmed. They get their subconscious beliefs are formed in those first few years of life. There's an imprinting years, sort of 0 to 3, when they just kind of absorb everything around them. And then there's the modelling years where they start to copy everybody around them, from 4 to 7, thereabouts. And they start to copy everybody around them. And then there's the experience years from sort of 7 to 12, where they then start to experience life, and then sort of that becomes part of their belief systems moving forward. So I've had this bad experience. It can happen younger, of course. So I had this bad experience, and then I'm carrying this bad experience forward. So when we have these struggling with things like depression, and we look back on our past and go, oh, I wish my life hadn't been like this, or these things hadn't happened, or these bad experiences as a child, and then we carry those forward, and they continue to bother us throughout our lives. It's not a helpful thing. So these are all subconscious things that just like automatically happening as our lives. And as we're going through our regular days, we have these unconscious beliefs constantly happening, constantly feeding into us. And again, they come from those formative years a lot of the time, and throughout our lives as well, because people then say, oh, you're not the type of person who does that. Your personality is this. You are like this. You are. That's not you're not the sort of person who goes out and knocks on doors. You're not the sort of person who makes sales. You're not the person who's very good with women. That sort of thing. And people will continue to tell you that. Continue to tell you these rules about how your life is going to be and how you are. And it's not helpful, obviously, because they're slowly over time programming you to become that type of person. But you have the ability to consciously change who you're going to become. And this is where I thought this is a really good thing here. Because the video I was watching this morning, they were talking about brainwaves and how we sort of have these different brainwaves and when you go into hypnosis, for example, you go into this Theta brainwave state, where your subconscious is much more accessible. You can get to the subconscious and reprogram it much better under hypnosis. This is why people do hypnosis. Hello, you, by the way. Anna, is it, on there? Let me know if you can hear me okay, Anna, by the way. I think it's Anna anyway. Can't really tell from the picture, it's a tiny little picture. And it's quite a long way away from me as well, because of the way I've set this phone up. Anyway, so we have this hypnosis state. And how do we get into this hypnosis state? We can do it through hypnosis, of course, with a hypnotherapist, but we can also do it ourselves just by doing things like meditation and taking ourselves down into this calm state. Because if you look at it, we go through this delta state. Delta wave brain waves is when we're in deep sleep, with fast sleep, And then we go, as we start to wake up, we go into theta state, which is where we're sort of half awake and so forth. And then we go into this alpha state, which is sort of calm consciousness, as we're just starting to wake up and we're starting to recognize the world around us. Oh, okay, this is what's happening today. And then we go into beta, which is sort of normal, everyday, day-to-day life. There's an extra level above that, which is the gamma state, which is like enlightenment and or flow, as it would be if you were like a sports person and really flow. I experienced flow twice. I talked about it in previous videos, when I was playing basketball for Gloucestershire once, and also when I was doing my French oral exam, and I suddenly realised I was thinking in French. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Just kind of flipped into this moment where I suddenly realised I was thinking in French. And then of course, as soon as I started thinking about it, pop straight back out again at that gamma state and back into beta state again. So that's the state of when we wake up. And when we go back to sleep, it's the opposite way around. Well, obviously the gamma is a special state, but beta is that sort of normal day-to-day thing. Then we go into alpha, it's a sort of calm consciousness. We just started to get tired and go to sleep. And then with theta is when we're sort of in that dozy state, we're just about to drop off to sleep. And quite often that's where all that chatter's going on and keeping us awake and keeping us from slipping into delta, which is the deep sleep. Or actually, it's probably more the alpha when we get that chatter going on. We can't quite get that shut off. We can't get from beta to alpha and then into theta to then fall asleep. But of course, there is that gap. There's that theta state just before you go to sleep and just after you come to sleep, just after you wake up in theta, when you're very much more impressionable and your subconscious is available to be programmed, I guess you could say. And which is why my Create Happy process is designed to be a thing you do just before you go to sleep and a thing you do first thing in the morning when you wake up, to sit into that theta state. You're thinking about the things that went well during the day, and then the next morning you're looking at the same list and going, these are the things that went well during the day before. And you're programming your subconscious brain to see the good and see the positives in your life, which is why my Create Happy process is so powerful and so useful. If you want a copy of that, let me know in the comments below. Or drop me a direct message as well. Just wanted to add to this as well, because I then spend a bit of time going to look up some stuff about our inner voice and our inner chatter and so forth, because it's the same thing. I was thinking to myself, where is this all this child development stuff, and it has a whole over that thing. And of course it came up that children start off in delta sleep when they're in the womb and when they're just born, which is why they tend to spend a lot of time sleeping so often when they're very much younger. And then they move into sort of theta, which is the hypnotic state, which is the imprinting years, sort of up to about the age of 3. And then they move into the modelling years, which is when they're in sort of alpha, sort of calm consciousness, just doing that modelling years. It goes on until about sort of age 7, where they're impressionable, so forth. And then they move into the beta thing from sort of 7 to 12 plus, where they're just where is that? It's 8 plus. 8 plus is when they're sort of basically just doing normal things. But they do have those experience years, of course, which is 7 to 12, which overlaps with that. And then I thought to myself, well, this is interesting, because where does the inner voice thing come into that as well? And it turns out that the private speech stuff happens up to about the age of 5, and then it switches to the inner voice at around the age of 8. So again, all these things work out. I was trying to work it all out this morning and fiddling it all around and realised that I was wasting a lot of time doing it. So I need to do a lot more theory on this, a lot more investigation. But I love how all these things kind of tie up together as to where your inner thoughts come from. When you're chatting to yourself, you've got that inner thoughts going on, which is that inner voice that was developed as a child, which then has linked into the impressionable age, which also then links into your brain waves, and how you can reprogram yourself as well by allowing yourself to go into that theta thing, get into the subconscious, reprogram the stuff that's negative, and then bring it forward in a positive way. And then, on top of all of that, I recognise that when people say to you, you are this type of person, you're this type of person, but you're also saying it to yourself, I am this type of person, you're also fixing yourself, fixed mindset, say this is who I am and I can't be any other way. And also, so you've got your dad saying, oh, you're that type of person, you're the type of person who does this, and you wouldn't be able to do this kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. But you can change all that stuff by changing the language that you talk to yourself in and get it into that theta wave thing, so you can get into your subconscious brains to reprogram it. All of this stuff is all part of my program, by the way, in much more detail and much more depth, of course. But what I recognised this morning for the first time was the language we use. We say things like I am rich, and you go, yeah, but then your subconscious brain goes, yeah, but I'm not rich yet. And what I've heard a lot of people saying was, yes, but say you're rich, because your body will then move itself to that direction. The trouble is, if you constantly saying to yourself, I am rich, but your subconscious brain is going, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, it doesn't really work. So what you need to do, and this is why my program is a 6-month program, it starts off with a 90-day process. It takes 90 days for your habits to get used to. So I'm guessing that it's probably the same for your brain waves and your thought patterns as well. So what I would say is, to start with the first 90 days, you say, I am in the process of becoming X or having X. I am in the process of becoming rich, for example, for the first 90 days. Get your brain used to the fact that you're in the process of, because you recognise that and you go, yes, that's true. I am in the process of. That's believable. I can believe that. And then after 90 days, you then switch into the I am rich thing, because then you've got to the point where your brain starts to believe the things you're telling yourself, and then you can start to move things forward. Just realised my thing's going to start to turn me off any second now. That's not helpful at all. And I'm also running out of time, and I haven't said happy birthday to everybody. So anyway, that's the idea. Hopefully that makes sense. I've spent far too much detail into that probably. Never mind. And I've got loads of people to say happy birthday to. So that's the end for Instagram, people. Take care. Love you all. Mwah. Sending you love out into the world for the Instagram people. But for those people on YouTube and on Facebook, you get a little added extra bit here. Where I say happy birthday to my friends. My friends from Facebook anyway. And we do the breathing exercise as well in this little part of the section here. So, happy birthdays first of all, because then we're going to wish them back for their birthday. We're going to wish you a happy birthday as well. The viewer, whoever the viewer is here. However, what's going to happen at the moment is my phone is going to go on pause because it's going to lock me out of this app for a second. But I'll be back in a second. Well, that was even worse than I thought it was going to be. So, apologies to anybody who was viewing me and then lost me completely because yeah, I had to do a whole bunch of things there all of a sudden. However, I'm going to say happy birthday to people as I'm walking up the stairs and walking away from the sea, not least because the sun has got really hot on the back of my neck and I'm starting to feel myself burn. But anyway, happy birthday to Emma, Marilyn, who did some web pages for me a while back, Chris Pierce, sorry I should say, Fame Razak, it seems like ages since I last saw you. Hope your life is doing well. Jess Stride, hope you're doing well. Ken Mack and Anne Freeman, both from Cheltenham, I think. Anna Freeman, sorry, I should say. Anna Freeman, who does the singles days in Cheltenham. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Matt Druce. And then from Monday, Theresa Stephen. Happy birthday to you, Theresa. Tracy. Hard doing this, isn't it? Nathan and Jonty Strachan, I think from school days. Jonty was. There we are. See if I can find some shade up here. Happy birthday to you for Monday. Sorry I missed your birthdays on Monday. And then from Sunday, all the way back from Sunday, it's kind of hard to read while I'm walking. Martyna, Rachel, Abbie, Jill, Ruth, Kirsty, Katy, Pinja, and of course Rick Notley. I need to reply to your email, don't I, Rick, sorry. There's no shade up here at all. Okay. Where's the shade? There is no shade. Happy birthday to all of you people anyway. Hope you all had a lovely birthday. And I am going to do the breathing exercise if I can find a ledge. I am going to find a ledge. Here we go. The sea behind me. There you go. Just a bit of ledge there. It's a ledge. It's not working. There you go, that'll do. The sea behind me. There you go. Enjoy the sea. Breathing exercise, but also happy birthday to those people. It's the one thing you want to get done today, or the one thing you just got done in the last 24 hours. Breathe out, breathe it, blow it out. Breathe in 5 through your nose. Put this hand on your heart. On your left hand, light the candles while you're holding your breath. And then blow out the candles on your cake. And wish happy birthday to all those people. Do that 5 times. Do it to, what's the one thing ideally you want to do it 3 things. This is my create happy process, by the way, in basic terms. What's the one thing you want to get done? Or yeah, what's the one thing you want to get done? What's the one thing you did get done? One thing that's made you smile, one thing you're grateful for, and say happy birthday to yourself, or the people on this list, or somebody else in your life. Say happy birthday, I wish them well, hope they're having a lovely day today. Good, right, I think that's me done. I think it probably went to almost 20 minutes in the end. Too much information, surely. Come into my program if you want that all more detail and you understand it a little bit more. Thanks so much, take care guys, love you all. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.